everyone, and welcome to my Dewey's 24-hour readathon reading wrap-up. If you missed my previous video, I shared with you my goals for the Dewey's 24-hour readathon that took place on Saturday, October 18th. My goals for the readathon were to finish the 4 books that I had listed as currently reading on my Goodreads account. So today I'm going to share with you my overall experience with the Dewey's 24-hour readathon and what I ended up getting read during that 24-hour period. So the readathon started at 7 a.m. in my time zone. I was ambitious enough to think that I could get myself up at 7 a.m. on a Saturday. The alarm went off and I went back to sleep, but only for an hour and a half. I ended up waking up at 8:30 a.m. in my time zone and getting on Twitter, and I ended up starting reading at about 9 o'clock. I started off the readathon reading with Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. I had about half of this book to complete. It took me a couple of hours to finish it, and I really enjoyed it, but it left me feeling quite dark and heavy. But I did end up getting to put this on my Read 5 Before I Buy list. Also, Ginny from Adulterous Books in the comments section of my last video challenged me to finish this book first and dedicate it to her, so this is for you, Ginny. So as I said, Dark Places left me feeling kind of heavy, so the next obvious choice for my original TBR was I Feel Bad About My Neck and Other Thoughts on Being a Woman by Nora Ephron that I read on my Kindle. Like I said in my TBR, the main reason I picked up this book was because of the rave review I heard of another collection by Steven from Steve Reads Books. And the thing that kept popping into my mind was something that he had said in his video, I believe, that she's funny without trying to be funny. It wasn't necessarily like laugh out loud funny, but it was charming and genuine, and I absolutely adored it, and I know that I will be reading more of her collections in the future, and I highly recommend it, especially if you're a fan of any of her other like movie-related works, like You've Got Mail, When Harry Met Sally, etc. Unfortunately, since this book was from the library, I did not get to add it to my Read 5 Before I Buy, but I really enjoyed it and have no regrets. So after finishing that book, I was in a bit of a pickle. The other 2 books left on my official TBR were Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas and The Cuckoo's Calling by Robert Galbraith. I still really wasn't in the mood for either of those. I felt still kind of weighed down by Dark Places, so I went through my existing TBR shelf at home. I knew that I wanted to keep reading. I didn't want to lose the reading momentum, and I also wanted to read something that if I finished, I could add to my Read 5 Before I Buy list. And I picked several books and read the first paragraph or first couple of lines until I found the one that I wanted to read, and it was a very easy choice. It was The Girl Who Fell Beneath Fairyland and Let the Revels There by Catherine Valente. After reading the first paragraph of this book, I realized how much I had missed Fairyland and needed to go back. And I read the first 48 pages. It was getting kind of late in the day by the time this came around because it had taken me an hour or more to decide what book I wanted to read, and also I think I took a break around then to get some frozen yogurt. I love the writing in this series, but it's very rich and demands to be savored, and I was kind of fading and had had some coffee, but I was still starting to fall asleep, so I needed something that I didn't have to put a lot of attention and focus into, and I wanted to save this so that I could read it when I could give it the proper attention it deserves. So I set that down and had planned to read Throne of Glass, but got distracted by a short story that I had purchased a while ago on my Kindle called Warm Up by Victoria Schwab. It is a part of the universe of the Vicious novel that I read, I believe, late last year that I really enjoyed, and since I purchased it on my Kindle and finished it in no time, it was the next edition on my Read 5 Before I Buy. I kind of feel like it's cheating because it's only 15 pages, but I did purchase it and it was on my Kindle TBR and I really enjoyed it. I wish that I had read it closer to the reading of the original novel. It was very enjoyable. If you loved Vicious by Victoria Schwab, I definitely recommend checking out the novella if you have access to it. After that, I had planned on reading Throne of Glass. I read about maybe 1 page or half of a page before falling asleep and sleeping through the rest of the 5 or 6 hours of the readathon, and then I continued to sleep for like 5 or 6 hours more. Apparently reading takes a lot out of you. Between the last half of Dark Places, the entirety of I Feel Bad About My Neck, the 48 pages of The Girl Who Fell Beneath Fairyland, and the 15 pages of Warm Up by Victoria Schwab, I ended up reading 312 pages total. It's not as high of a number as I would have liked, but I am very pleased with what I read, and I'm glad to have participated yet again. I wish that I would have had the foresight to pick out some graphic novels, but I will try to remember to do that next time in April. I'm so excited to participate again, and I would love to hear your experiences or see your wrap-ups if you participated in the Dewey's 24-hour readathon. As always, please feel free to share your thoughts on any of the books or anything else that I mentioned here today in the comments section below, and I will see you soon with a new video.